Hello, hello, aloha, and welcome everybody to another Soul Talk here on my channel. I'm so happy for my guest today, and I'm very curious. As always, or at least at the moment, with all the interviews I'm doing, as always, I don't know too much. I only know a little thing that I was introduced to beforehand. So I'm going to tell you that part, and then we're going to start in. So we have Sai with us. Um, Hello, Sai. How are
Hello.
you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Excellent. Yes.
Perfect. It's so great to
What's
have
up?
you
Yeah.
here. So, Sai is a music composer producer who uses high ticket network marketing as a support, and as he stays true to him only doing the music that's really aligned, which I find really interesting. While some
Mm,
already know how to become an entrepreneur in the business of life, a lot of us don't. And Sai uses his astrology skills. So I'm really looking forward to this combination. There's so many questions that I want, like so many questions I have there, but maybe for the start in your own words. I mean, you sent me that little piece that I just read, but like
yeah.
what would you say, who are you today and what do you do today?
Uh, well, the I would say that I am on earth to bring ahead or to bring to life the music which exists very deep inside of me, which took me years and years of meditation, actually, and soul searching to find that sound was actually my true calling, or uh, what I'm here on earth to, how do you say, branch out, if you will. So once that happened, I was in an extremely unpractical reality. That is that I was like, this is all that I'm going to be doing, no matter, what the world around me said. It took a lot of years to figure it out as to how you're going to do it, if you're going to do it in that specific way. But as life always falls in place when you do such things, it did fall in place, and now I am only doing the music which is so-called aligned with that very oath that I took to myself. But things started supporting me from the sides. Things like a high ticket offer that I currently associate with my which supports my music came up, and these things help me not have to think about so-called the practicalities of everyday life on earth while I stay true to what I do. And astrology, as far as that goes, during these spiritual quests, whatever were the things that I kind of figured out for myself, they are in such an emotional realm, or such a spirit realm, which is difficult to communicate with people most of the times, because most of the times people don't even know what to ask, or like they don't know the question itself, let alone spirituality or the diggings of it. So astrology works in that way because they don't really need to ask me a question related to so-called spirituality or the journey. They could just be like, yeah, this is my chart, and then we kind of base the conversation off that, and
Mm.
spirituality naturally happens. So that's why I kind of use astrology in order to share what I have inside. Yeah, that's in a nutshell. Yeah.
I love it because it gives you like a guideline on how to, approach the person that you're working with, right?
Mm,
Nice.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I also love that you're saying like how you found this that the music wanted to come out of you. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like how did you find out that that was your calling, that that's what you want to share with the world?
Yes, generally what happens, like I like to keep it in a generic way so that it's a little bit more relatable rather than going to my story specifically. I would, now looking back at it, I would say the opposite would always be revealed to you. That is, that my biggest fears, or like my biggest phobias, were around sound. Like I could hear, entities speaking to me. Yeah, yeah, I was super sensitive to them on the road. I could feel like people are, out to get me. Like the cars were, the noise of the car was like something which was haunting me so deeply, which could penetrate so deeply that I was just petrified. And so when the fears could enter me via sound, basically sound was the medium in which I was getting petrified.
Mhm.
Now, when I started meditating, you're obviously going to go towards your fear because that's what you want to get rid of, or you want to, nip it in the bud, so to speak. So when you go there, yeah, that is how I kind of discovered that sound. And more so discover sound, I'll tell it in the right way. I was trying to just escape that pain or that fear or that haunting feeling of not able to sleep at night because I'm having these sounds, pester me all the time. So, in the urge to get rid of it, I went on this spiritual journey, went after so many masters. I was at Osho's as well for a really long time. And during all these quests, like the whole idea was to just get out of sound because it's just so difficult to handle it. It's just so painful. So in the act of doing it, it hit a certain point at which you kind of broke the barrier, right, if you will. Now, at that point is when I realized that I'm actually outside of sound, which means that I'm outside of sound and the absence of it, that is silence. So in a place where you can create both, that is sound and silence. And I realized that they both get created together. And from this space, I couldn't see fear as much. It takes time. It's not an overnight process,
Mhm.
but I could see that everything around me can be made into rhythm. Like the same cars now, I could see them as dance music rhythm. I could see them as like electronic
Yeah.
music. So I do techno. Yeah, like dark techno. I do dark techno because now it's an expression of that haunting feelings that I used to have. Now it's an expression in terms of musical. Now it's a musical expression. But the same things which haunted me then became my medium because I am extremely sensitive to it anyways, right? So then when I like got into music education, I got very serious about it because you realize that when something goes so deep into you, you're like ultra sure about it. Like, yeah, if this is something which really is at the core of all of my pain, then this must be the source for all of my pleasure as well. So it kind of went on that way. Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
I love that you're saying that so much because when I work with my clients, that's one of the things that I like to, because empaths are so overwhelmed with all kinds of energies around them, right? So one of the things that I try to to give to them, and is one thing that I learned by myself as well, was that if I want to do something about this, if I want to learn instead of being a victim of all these energies, if I want to become empower myself, I need to, go through them first, like really embrace that they exist and that they're there. And this is so
Mm.
beautiful to, because I think it's the same thing when we have fears. The first thing to do is actually, look at it, start go into communication with your own fear so that you can find out what wants to be healed there.
Yeah, yeah. Generally, like your biggest fear is your deepest potential, because basically you're just afraid of your own magnificence, if you will, right? You just probably just it's not always the case, but I feel a lot of times it is. Yeah.
I yeah, definitely. Like if I look at the biggest fears that I have overcome, have become my biggest assets today. To be, and like you said, the brilliance that we have inside of ourselves. I love that.
Hmm.
So everybody listening in, so if you have very big fears, look at them because they might be teaching you or showing you where to look, because maybe there's a
Hmm.
purpose behind them why you are so afraid of them. I was it
Yeah.
Marianne Williamson that said we're so afraid of our own light.
Yeah, it's very much that. It's really very much that because it's also because like when you do birth out that so-called thing inside of you, there's going to be a death of the current self that you are living. So that is generally what we are kind of afraid of, in my opinion. I feel.
Yeah. Mm. Another thing that I really liked about your story is that because we live in this world where sometimes this inner purpose, at least at the beginning, doesn't feel like it's going to support us, right? Because if I look at the mindset, or how would the patterns that we bring from from our background, especially when it comes to art or artsy things, is like, why do you want to be a painter, or why do you want to be a singer? That's not going to get you money. How are you going to live off of all those beliefs? So in the beginning, to get started or to really find it, I believe that when we follow that inner calling, at some point the abundance will come by itself. But until we
Mm,
get to that point, it's always good, but society wants us to focus on just one thing. But what I love about your story is that it opens up to say, okay, so this is what I love doing, but I also have another side, and I can actually choose other things that are aligned with me to create and to give me that space to be able to create without thinking about it. I think that's also something similar that I've experienced with my own business. At the moment that I was out of this lack mentality that my business had to be the one that creates money for me or creates my,
mm,
my living, because I need to pay, some rent or food and stuff like that. But the moment I took that out, it just became more free. And, you have this freedom to
mm.
really create from a very aligned path. Um, how was that for you, to find that? Like, did you go into that before you found out that you had the music inside of you, or was that like how did that intertwine with each other?
My case might not be the same with everyone because I had a very linear way in that when I was searching, nothing made sense. So I didn't find any reason to continue with everyday life, if you will. Like there were very little reasons to continue. I don't think this is the case with a lot of people. So there might be a case of balancing well, but in my case, it was quite an extreme one that nothing made sense, and I was like, I might as well put all my eggs in one basket. It wasn't a rational choice. It was more like a deep calling. Uh, but like once I did it, things just started to unfold one after the other. Yeah, like yeah, of course there were like you have like your test. The thing is, what I would like to say is that while I was in that journey, right, I'm just being honest that I did not experience the because I feel like we have a compelling how would you put it, like a compelling urge which makes us want to respond to these earthly realms. That is like, oh shit, I have to pay rent. Oh shit, I've got to,
Yeah,
yeah. There is a certain thing. It's because we are at that realm. We are operating in that realm. So we are tackling for fears of that realm. Now,
exactly.
once you go into a different realm, you're going to have different problems. It doesn't mean like when you're in the middle of your spiritual, if you're like really deep into it and you're like 100% into it, these are not things which generally surface because the universe isn't stupid. It's going to give you things which you can digest. It's not like it's going to put everything into one like everything on top of you at the same time. Yeah, so I felt that universe has been very compassionate, that it's given me things in chapters. Like while I was in the quest, that I was just taken care of somehow. Like it wasn't on my mind, survival or any of these things. But now that it's coming, now I feel I'm adept at handling it. So now it's okay. Now it's, yeah, now all the earthly things are coming back. That's fine. But now this time it's coming with a very strong core, with music at the heart of it, with a depth that I know, and yeah, that's all that matters.
I love that so much that you're saying that, because this is something important, I think, also for everybody to hear. The universe is never going to give you too much to handle. It's always going to give you enough for that moment. So if anything feels overwhelmed, be sure you have the strength to overcome whatever the universe just threw at you. Even though it might seem very big, but it means you're stronger than that.
Mm.
I love that.
I'll go in a little bit more detail because what I said maybe just doesn't make sense, or like it's maybe not practical enough, right? Like I'd like to put it in this way: is beings on Earth, right? Like when we're so-called alive, if you were to talk about the lifespan of a human being, like 60 to 100 years, whatever you want to say, that uh, anywhere where we might imagine ourselves to be while we are not in this so-called body, or even if you're looking at the duration of sleep, we sleep for 8 hours or something, right? 6 to 8 hours. At that time, you are not facing things which you face in the daytime, right? You're facing challenges. Maybe you're facing challenges in your dreams, but it's very attuned to the realm you're facing it in. You're not facing a physical challenge within your dream because that is not the reality at that time. The reality is that you're sleeping, so now you're going to have abstract whatever demons or people trying to chase you, whatever your story is, it's going to be in a realm which is coherent with the state. So it's the same thing with the spiritual quest as well. Now, in order to go into more detail, I would say that when you so-called go into a spiritual quest, what happens is that the things you find are not just pertaining to you or your soul's quest. It is pertaining to a certain family lineage as well. Because when you leave a material realm and go into a spiritual realm, anything which you are, personally instigating, it's an entrepreneurial project, right? To say that I'm going to go in this journey and, find out what it's all about, whatever it is. So in this journey, what happens is as you go, there are so many earthlings around you, whether it's your ancestral tree or the society that you're a part of or the country, whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
Those beings are working in the material plane. Now when you are penetrating through a spiritual thing, you are working for the collective in a certain way, because you never raise alone in consciousness, you always raise a collective in consciousness, because you give birth to something new. That means a new generation of conscious beings will come through. So what happens is, in a way, I would say that they support you, because you're taking care of their spiritual needs as well. So if they are so called working on the material plane to pay the bills, you are clearing a lot of their internal trauma and collective unconscious
Mm.
beliefs, so to speak. You're releasing it by going on this so-called journey. And in a way, it's not even the universe takes care of you, they are taking care of you, because you are doing the work for them. So they're kind of paying you for your services, you can say.
I love that you're saying that, because it's so. That's also another thing that I feel is so important for everybody to hear, that whatever, because sometimes I feel some people feel a little bit selfish when they start to do their own journey for them, for themselves. But I think it's very good to remember that because you are going on that journey, you're the one actually doing it on an energetic level for the collective. So if you might
Mm.
not see it right away in your direct, environment where you're at right now, but if you look at the energetic collective of our planet, you're actually doing it for the whole planet. And it's wonderful, because everything that you transform gets transformed with everybody. And I like that you're sharing this idea that we have the support from everybody, and that's why also we're allowed to that also, I love that, because I remember, because I was brought like on my spiritual journeys, because I had several teachers. I come also from a shamanic line, and a lot of energy work and stuff, and so I remember back then talking to my very first shamanic teacher, and he was like, "Yeah, if you're working as a spiritual teacher, or as a spiritual healer or person, that's supporting others, you're not allowed to receive, big payments, because it's a spiritual thing, and spiritual, those things are actually for everybody." And way back then, that was the reality. I mean, we're talking about a couple of years ago, right? So
Mm.
that was the reality back then. But I feel that that was also, like a mindset thing that everybody had, because no one was taking spirituality that like a serious, this is energetic working, what we're doing here.
Mm.
And I feel that nowadays it's changing a little bit, but it's still there. And to be aware of that, we're all doing it together. So if someone is actually paying me for what I'm doing, and they're paying me good for what I'm doing, it's because I'm actually putting the work in for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. You deserve it.
Yeah,
You're putting the work in for everybody. It's just
exactly.
like an ambassador. Yeah, like when somebody represents a country or a state,
Yeah.
and like you don't have the whole state go up and show up for a meeting, right? Like it's country A versus B. Yeah, you don't have the whole country show up for a meeting. You have a representative, right? And
Yeah.
the representative so-called flight tickets and stay is paid for. Why? Because he's representing the whole collective. I found no difference in the spiritual journey. I felt like I was just like my things were just paid for. It's because I was representing something, and yeah, in the very nature of it, in spirit, it's always collective. It's not alone. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That resonates so much for me, because it goes also for like if a family or friends, if they're helping you, to go through a certain time in your life, because you're on that spiritual journey, they're supporting you in that moment, but also
Mm.
because you are the one that was chosen to, to release or
So
transform
yeah.
certain things
Mm.
in that community. I love that. That's a very nice way of seeing that, and changes a lot on energetic level.
Yeah.
Um, You were talking about that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because the first sentence is you're a music composer producer who uses high ticket network marketing as a support for
Yeah.
what you do. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So while I was so called on this journey, I've been on this journey on this while, and uh, the ability to extend my music on to uh, onto a wider cause started to show up. That is when the high ticket sales offer kind of showed up. Yeah, it came through a very good dear friend of mine who is also my mentor now. So I associate with Enagic, which is a Japanese company which produces water ionizers and has been doing that for the last 48 years. So since it was water, it sounded romantic and it sounded good enough for a musician to associate with. and uh, and yeah, just the act that since it's a network marketing company, a lot of it depends on personal branding. And being a musician, personal branding is anyways a part of what I'm supposed to be doing in order to, yeah, propagate my services, so to speak. So it was kind of a no-brainer. It was more like I just have to attach this to what I already do, and things fall in place, and commissions are generous, and I'll tell you one thing, because you were talking about the about charging the money, right? I'll tell you one thing, because I have done, like, I think around surely more than 2,000 charts, astrology charts, but I never got like, I was not able to charge for it ever. There were times when I wanted to, but I just couldn't do it. Like, I just felt like, no, this is something to do with the collective. It didn't have much of the guilt. It was more like, this has something to do with the collective. Like, it's actually not mine. It's transferring through me. I'm the conduit, if you will, but it's not kind of mine. So see, it doesn't have to be for everybody. For some people, they feel comfortable in that medium itself to be able to exchange money as an energy. There's nothing ugly about money. Money is great, yeah. But I was not able to do it because I was personally not feeling it. So when these kind of things started coming in, this is an extremely high ticket offer with 3 to 4 figure USD commissions. So when this started to come in, I could just see it like, okay, I can do that for free there, and then here,
Yeah.
things come in like as if I have not even done anything for it. So I could see a bigger picture in it rather than me pestering over, oh shit, I'm getting things away for free. I could see that, but I'm getting so much, like, very, there's a certain cycle to it. That's what I feel like. Yeah, if for somebody who's on a, in a spiritual field, if they are feeling that they have to do something free, just note that something else is really going to come to you for free as well, much bigger scale, which you would not have made by even like charging whatever the highest you could charge for your services. So this is just my experience. There are so many people who are amazing astrologers, amazing healers, who deserve what they charge and deserve a lot more than what they are able to provide, because they're able to take up so much of your burden and release it for you. So it is a worthwhile thing, and you should charge if you feel aligned. It's just that I was not feeling aligned. That was the only thing. Yeah.
I love that, because I resonate a lot with it, with certain things that I've done in my own business. Of course, if someone wants to work with me one on one, that's a different kind of energy field we're going to be in. So that part for me was always important to, have the energetic exchange. But there are so many things, like sometimes, like during the day, I would just like receive a message that I wanted to share with my audience, and I just want to.
Mm,
That's why one of the reasons why my podcast is here, because whenever I feel the urge, like the universe is sending something through. And because I've tried the, like the things of, having like a membership area where people can go to, and a lot of business schools, tell you that no, you don't sell too much for free, or no, don't do anything for free, because you want, your clients to pay. And that just doesn't resonate with me so much. So whenever I feel like you, that's why I completely understand when something's coming through, you want to get it out there. And it's like the week
mm,
I do weekly card readings for, every week, and that just feels right for me to just bring it out there to the people, because it just feels like the right thing. And especially because the universe gifted me also with other ways for money to come in, so that I don't have to, like you
mm,
said, you don't have to think about it. You're completely out of that energy, and out of the lag. But I think it's necessary to open yourself up to that possibility, you know, to
Mm.
you know to be able to do your work, to be like you said, the conduit of the energy that wants to come through, or the messages that want to come through for the world here, but still do something that's for fun for you, you know, to like you said, the low brainer with those tickets to come in, and having that work
Yeah.
for you. And especially because I believe we live in a time, and I think some people are not yet seeing it. So if you're listening to this and you've ever thought about it, it's really like, if you start researching for yourself, there are so many ways today, online and I think offline as well, where you can find, you know, a small income here, you know, you can try this. There's so many different kinds of ways. If it's, you know, creating your own books on Amazon today is so easy, or, you know,
Yeah. Mm.
there, you know, like, or there are so many, especially after the past 3 years, so many things were moved into the online world. So there's so many things that you can actually do from home to create that abundance for yourself, so that you can focus truly on what you really love. Although I would
Mm.
also have a look at what do you truly love, because maybe there's something that will help you, you know, to, like you said, to monetize the way it happened with you with the music, and then with the
Mm.
ionizers coming in there.
Also, I would like to add, like, while I do the astrology for free, it's always been that way. Like in music, I don't feel that at all. Like, I feel it's extremely expensive. I don't take up projects at all. I keep a very high price.
Mm.
Very few can work with me, but I don't feel like bending at all. Like I had someone, just request as well. I just didn't feel it. Like, so I would also say that, you have to design it within your head as to what feels right for you. Like in music, I don't feel like compromising at all. I feel you have to pay for what it is. And while astrology, I don't feel like I'm not able to take it. I just feel it's not mine. That's the, yeah. And for everybody, as you're saying, like nowadays, so many multiple streams of income are available that you don't actually have to be fixated on, I put effort in A and money has to come out of A. It can come out from C. Could be coming out right from back door and you wouldn't be noticing it, right? Yeah, it's just like coming in from C. Yeah. So yeah, I need to just be be a little bit mindful that look at the full balance sheet, so to speak. Like look at your full accounting and see that okay, there's a lot of free things going on, but there's a lot of free things you're getting as well, like with very little effort, which you would consider to be free, right? Like at a, yeah, very
Exactly.
high price. Yeah.
Exactly, because that's
Mm.
another thing that I feel sometimes people don't set the focus. Like if you start asking them, you know, like especially when it comes to, you know, how do I earn a living, or how do I, you know, like uh, persist here on the physical realm at the moment. And sometimes, you know, you have friends gifting you things, you have people offering you, you know, a free place to stay, or someone offers you to take you from A to B. And um those are presents that we get. And even, you know, sometimes that's another thing, because here I'm in Germany, and here in Germany, you know, sometimes if the train comes late, you get you know, you get a return, you get some
Uh-huh.
part of the ticket return. So that's also, I mean, even if I'm late, but if it doesn't bother in my all day today, that's a present from the
Mm.
universe returning something to me, you know.
Exactly.
um
Exactly. Yeah.
and I feel like if you start listening into those things, my sister and I was just talking about this a couple of days ago, that we sometimes, you know, we feel like we want to buy something for the house or for ourselves, and but we, like, for whatever reason, we don't do it right away, and then we remember a couple of days later. I'm just saying, you know, for whatever reason, in you know, because um a couple of days later we go in and want to buy it, and suddenly you have a 20% off, or suddenly it became
Yeah.
cheaper because of something else. So that's like a present from the universe, and that happens so many times. And if you open yourself up to that, that's also the abundance coming into you, and
You're
making
already
space for
noticing it. Yeah, you're already
it.
noticing.
Exactly.
This is exactly actually what I was trying to say is that you need to see the full balance sheet.
Yeah.
You need to see where the effort is going for free, but you also need to see where things are coming in for free. Like this is exactly what it is. 20% off is what you would have so-called charged, and had to have a bad talk with someone to just do that. Yeah, had to, yeah, it's just, it's not worth it, right? Like when things can just flow. nicely.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How would you recommend, or how did it start for you to have that listening into that voice, to that intuition, or, to the guidance that coming through? What helped you be more clear about it? Because one of the things that I know from my audience, from the empaths, and from my own journey back then, it was a little bit hard to trust that inner voice, or that, that feeling of something. So sometimes I would still do what the outside world wanted me to do, instead of what my feeling inside was saying. So how was it for you? Like, how did you really get into that confidence of that, or communication with that inner voice? I'm calling it the inner voice, but it's the intuition,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, my situation might not be the same with a lot of people because they're in a more maybe a better balance. Like I was very imbalanced. There wasn't even a question of outside versus inside. It was heavily poised towards the inside because the outside wasn't supporting me anyways. Like it just wasn't making sense. Like I could see people thrive around me, but I could see if I got the same thing, I got the same amount of everything, recognition, so-called happiness, so-called wealth, I would be miserable. So for personally for me, like I think I was just perfectly put in a place where nothing made sense. So the inner journey becomes easy when externally nothing makes sense. When externally things are nice, it's difficult to go inside because you see
Mhm.
there's not much of a reason, right? Like
Yeah.
so yeah, it'll really depend on the ratio. Like is it 50-50? Is it 60 to 40? Is it 95 to 5? Then it's very easy to go on an inner journey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
so yeah, it was 95 to 5 is like that's the yeah, you just see it as the only path. It's like people say, right? Like it's way easier to become an entrepreneur when you're just like completely broke and there's just no other way. That because people with money, they think that it's a risk, it's a gamble. Should I not, I can stay in my nice or comfortable job. Like there are too many things to kind of ponder over and to actually strategically take a decision. But for someone who's probably broke or like who's on the verge of not being able to sustain tomorrow, for him or her starting something in an entrepreneurial way is it's coming from a very different place. It's just not an option because the ratio isn't 50-50. It's like 95 to 5 or 99 to 1 or something. So for them to go ahead and do it is it's different, right? It's much different, right, from 50-50.
I have to say, yeah, you're completely right, and I have to say, actually, from my own experience, I mean, it wasn't that bad that I couldn't, like think about the next day, but it was for me my rock bottom. And it was incredible because it was sort of like a moment of surrendering, like of true
Mm,
surrendering, because it was like, okay, universe, I tried it the way I thought I was supposed to do it. I tried it that way, and apparently it wasn't working. I thought I was in communication with you, but apparently I wasn't, because it wasn't working everything. So here I am. This is me. You tell me now where you want me to go. And like you said, it's like there's one moment where you just go, okay, whatever, just tell me, and I'll go wherever you tell me. And then it's like you have, like you said, like it's like you have to. This is what like you have to surrender into that guidance, and then you're gonna start listening and hearing it better or more than before. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the way you're saying it, if you do it, you'll develop a beautiful GPS, like a very good universal GPS. You'll just know where to go at the right time. That's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, surrender. I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, everybody has to surrender. Like, no matter what your journey is,
Yeah.
what your ratio is, at the end of the day, it is about surrender. Yeah. You don't do it with will, you do it with surrender at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, because it was a very big key, and I think probably that's why I needed the rock bottom, my own rock bottom moment, because I felt like after learning so many things, going through so many spiritual teachers, the one thing that I was still missing was that surrender part. And that's why now for me with my
Mm.
clients is like one of the first things we start working on, because if you really need that to get into that trust with the universe, that it's always going to have you on the right spot. And then not only the universe, because the hard thing is also trusting yourself, because I mean, trusting the universe and the guidance is, so it's sort of like you start to do that very fast once you start seeing
Uh,
some of the signs. but you keep doubting yourself, the feelings that you have. So when you start doing that and really giving yourself into that surrender moment, and every moment that doubt comes in, you just go, okay, no, I'm still gonna follow, even though I'm afraid, but I'm still gonna follow the guidance, because it has all, up until now, it's been good. And then you start creating this magic around you, right? So like you said, things start falling into place in such an easy way that you're like, oh my god, this is so beautiful.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is really nice. You said that it's easier to trust the universe than like the voice inside you, that yourself. And if someone's facing that, what I feel is, look at it this way, look at it as a chain. If you are able to trust the universe, and like if you've got that down, you feel like, yeah, I'm able to trust and I'm able to let go. If you've got that down and you feel like I'm not able to trust myself, but just take one step back and look at it, that who is the person who actually surrendered to the universe and reached the state where you are right now? It is actually you. It was a past you. It was a past you which surrendered to the universe and has brought you to this state where you're now doubting whether it will be able to do it again. It did it the first time.
Yeah,
So you're already on a good momentum.
yeah,
You just have to build on top of that. Yeah, yeah. What happens, I think, is that at that time we tend to go inside the self, and from there the perspective looks that, okay, I've surrendered to the universe, but I don't trust myself to do whatever I need to.
yeah.
Yeah, you are the one who did it, actually. Yeah.
I love that so much. Yeah, it's basically a really big call for everybody to just go, look at yourself, surrender, try to surrender as best as you can. And if you're not at that stage yet, ask yourself what's keeping you away from that surrender moment, right? Like, what's holding you
Hmm.
back from that?
Yeah, it's generally some form of security. Generally is mostly.
Yes, I love that
Yeah.
too. Because we have this yearning for secure. A lot of us have that yearning of security. And I thought that was always very interesting, especially when you're like, because I know how it is to be employed. And, now I prefer the state of being self-employed, as entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Um, but because I thought it was so interesting, because especially here in Germany, it's like you have a job and that gives you security. But we're also living in a day and age where so many companies, break up, and then you have to let go of, I don't know how many hundreds of coworkers and stuff. So where's the
Hmm.
security in that? Why is that more secure than, what I'm doing as an entrepreneur? It's, it could,
And you're paying more taxes.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like yeah, you don't even see it before it comes, right? I mean, you're taxed and then you get paid. So
Yeah.
entrepreneur is different. Yeah, you're running the business. Yeah, so it's obviously different. Yeah. Hmm. Security could also be in terms of like I think relationships or something, or like being associated with hmm, something for you to hold on to. Yeah,
True.
so
And I mean, how many people are out there that hold on to relationships that are not good for them? Um, just because they have the safety of knowing, there's a saying in, I think it's in Spanish, the devil I know, you know,
yeah, yeah,
I prefer the
yeah.
devil I know instead of, the unknown. Um, but I think it's also, I don't know why I have this picture of, when you let go of something and it just feels like this free falling, and it's so scary because you don't know where you're going to fall. But then you find out you actually have wings, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, which happens with everything we let go, right? It's just, letting go, and then just, and I think the first couple of times it's very scary, but then after a while, once you start practicing, like everything, once you practice it more and more,
Mm.
you just get used to, falling down, because this feeling of falling, because you're going to catch yourself with your wings.
Mm. Yeah, it's also like I would always, not anymore, but earlier I used to tell myself like if it's not mine, then I don't want it. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it helps to let go of things you may be holding on to. Like yeah, as well.
That is so nice. Tell us a little bit more about your music. Like, where do you do concerts, or how does that whole process work? Like, how do you express yourself with music?
So I work a lot with visual media. So I'm generally working with visual artists. So I've worked with an architect as well, who it's designed an elaborate, an art exhibition where people come to experience the art and the full album plays out. And I do a lot of music for sleep, so there are long concerts of up to 6 hours,
Oh,
which people
wow.
come and they sleep in beds and they experience the music completely. And I work with other visual artists for creating what you would call as ghost writing.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost writing is when your name doesn't surface, but then you are
Yeah.
working on the music. So, uh, for me personally, I do that because uh, if you could see whatever I'm speaking about, the journey or whatever it is, it's too important for me. Like my identity is associated with the music. If you even hear me talk, it's like, it's important. It's
Yeah.
the primary focus. What happens in these kind of cases is that you get too stuck up with it, because you become a perfectionist, and that's the way you want it as well.
Yeah.
So I have experiences that when I do ghostwriting, in which I make a lot of my money as well. But the other thing is that it lets my name not come out, so it lets me write more freely, because it doesn't feel like I
Mm-hmm.
stand for this. You know what I mean? Because I'm extremely attached to it. So it's like any small, everything is almost becoming a hindrance. Like if I'm going out to a so-called perform it, right? There are a lot of internal inhibitions which are coming in, and I can see that I'm not able to express extremely freely because I'm just too attached to it. So I do a lot of ghostwriting, which is the exact opposite of it, right? It's almost like being what you would call as a ghostwriter. That is that your name doesn't
It is
come
the
at all, and
same
you're
for
working with
authors.
somebody
Yeah.
else. Yeah. So I do that a lot, so that expression gets more free. That the idea of not holding becomes a little bit more easy, and when I come back here, I'm able to be a little bit more relaxed. Otherwise, I'm a little tense while being in the creative field or the sphere, so to speak. Yeah. So right now I'm working on my techno set. That's a dark techno live set. So which I'm looking at releasing in around 4 to 5 months. And the high ticket sales is again helping me in figuring out things which, as an artist, I was never thought. I was never taught sales. I was never taught business. I was never taught how to market yourself and these kind of things. So I'm realizing that those kind of qualities are coming in me, and I think it would just make me a more holistic person in the years to come with the music. And yeah, you can go on my website and check out all the projects and the music. It's all there. So yeah, if you're curious about what it sounds like, it's there.
Yes,
We'll leave it in the end.
we're gonna put all the
Yeah,
links in
we're
the
gonna put
show
everything
notes.
there, so you can just have a look
But
at
what
it.
I wanted to see, because I thought that was very incredible, because I always thought that some people would not like to do ghostwriting because then the people don't know that it's your energy. But I love
Uh,
your view on it as seeing it actually to make you more free, give you
Therapeutic for
more
me.
freedom, because you can just go
Yeah.
and you don't identify with it that much, with having that your name on it. And this is very beautiful because I think it can remind us ourselves, like, to see what do I identify with, and does that help me?
Mm,
Because I'm a huge fan of not labeling, or only using labels to sort of, you know um help us be playful. Like, I'm playing with labels
mm,
on myself, like, do I identify with that? Does that feel right? No, I'll try it out for a couple of weeks or months, and then I'll put it away. But because I feel that sometimes those labels separate us, and thinking about that actually those labels create an identity, or actually help us release the identity and become more free in our expression. That is
mm.
very beautiful, and maybe something also our audience can take away for themselves, to really look at what labels do I really need, and do I have to identify with, or what do I want to, again, let go of, to maybe see how I become more free.
Because I'll give you an example. For example, like as this a ghostwriter, as a ghost musician producer, like in terms of lyrics or in terms of content in general, like musical related stuff, I write close 20 to 30, actually 30,000 words a month. There is no way, if I am doing my music, if it's lyric oriented, I will be able to write that much. I'll be so circumspect, I'll be so, super analytical about it. So much material will never come out.
Mhm.
Like, you're going to be re-editing it, you're just going to be doing it so many times, looking at it from so many different angles. It's not going to be possible. Like, for me, I'm saying, like, it's not going to be possible for me to churn out that much material. So the amount of experience this can give me in a year's time of writing, for someone else, where I'm just, kept my personal mind out because the image is not there at all, there's no way I'll be able to write that amount of content with my own music. But then when I do this becomes a little bit more free. Like,
Mhm.
the speed of this develops as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's yeah. Like, not having a label really helps for me personally.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hmm.
I love that. That's a very good idea. How would you say, like, if any of our listeners are saying like, oh man, I resonate with Sai and I listen to his music and it's really wonderful and I'd like to work with Sai. What do you have, like, do you have anything that you offer as program? Like you said, the astrology charts is one thing. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. So I offer up to four things. So one is an astrology consultation. It's always been free, so I've left it that way. If you just want that, there's no problem at all. The second thing is that since I work in the high ticket sales, there are a lot of entrepreneurs coming in, or people who are, wanting to work online. So when they do come in, I do their astrology reading as well, so that it becomes a take on how would you approach marketing, or how would you, approach getting into the online space. What is best for you as an energy style? Because everybody's different and standard things don't work for everybody, as I think you as well know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. That, yeah, you're, a businesswoman yourself, that it doesn't work. So I offer that as well along with that. And if you want to get in touch with me to work on my music, yeah, all the forms, all the contact information's there on my website. You can just hit me up, and we can see how we vibe, and we can take it from there. Yeah. And yeah, I guess yeah, that's what I have to say.
I love that very much. We're gonna put all the links in the bio, in the description, and in the show notes for you guys. So if you feel like diving into high ticket sales, like we just heard already, here's someone you can talk to. If you're looking into some wonderful music that is very, spiritually aligned, also someone you can talk to. And if you're looking for an astrology reading, also you'll find everything in the show notes. Sai, this was so wonderful to have you here. I loved how we resonated in so many ways, and also,
Yeah, yeah, we really doesn't. We just started directly, like there was
yeah.
basically nothing. So yeah, it's really cool that it turned out so well. It's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yes, and I also enjoyed, having this new ways of looking at certain things, and I hope our audience was able to take away as much as possible. Do you have like one last thing you'd like to tell our audience? One last message.
Mm. In what regards? Like, yeah, just yeah, because it's a little bit vague. Just give me some pointer, so it's easier.
In what direction? Let's just say
Yeah.
maybe because business was so much in our way, like if someone is thinking about how to, or no, because we talked about this money abundance so much. If someone wants to create that more in their lives, if they want to come out of that lack energy.
Yeah, money is just an idea, actually, right? In a large way, like money is just an idea. It's just an energy, and I guess not working for money really opens up a lot. I realize that working for free opens me to more abundance. It's not in a pious way or in a sacrificial way. It's not actually that. It's just that when I'm kind of working for free then I'm working towards a project, and when I'm working towards a project, doing that well is the goal. And when I start to do that, I realize that when I so-called work for money as well, uh, the end result doesn't feel heavy. It the amount doesn't feel heavy enough, and if it's heavy, it's real for you. If it's not heavy, it's airy. That means it's an idea for you, and ideas can change. So the value of money can also change in your head. So if you're somebody, yeah, who has a changeable idea of money in their head, it's very easy to go from whatever is your current situation to the next, because it's an idea and it can be upgraded. If it's hard, and if it's a material idea, like if $10,000 means something to you and it means like, oh, it means this for me, then it's a little bit more difficult to change it because it already has a more earthly, in astrology you call it earth energy, right? Like
Hmm.
the earth signs. Yeah. If it's more in the air, it's better because it's more changeable and more, yeah, it's just more easier to transform into, from lack to abundance is more easier to transform. Yeah.
I love that because, again, like this was the example with the money energy, but you can put it into whatever thought patterns that you have that are holding you back, and you can, see how you can make it more airy so that you can, help
This
it to.
$20 example you gave, right, is exactly probably that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this yeah, this dollar about the coupon coming back and about you getting,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
simple train ticket back. That's it. It's already in the air because you're able to see money in many different ways, right? You're able to see it as when it comes back, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the client has to pay more. It's just
Yeah.
the train paid you more. That's it. It just, yeah, it just doesn't matter. Yeah. So if you can start to
Exactly.
look at it like this, it's already airy. It's not hard.
Yeah.
So it's easier to transform into abundance because it's just an idea already. So it's easy. Yeah.
I love that so much. Sai, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your wisdom with us. And it was really great having you.
Likewise, I really enjoyed the talk. Thank you so
Thank
much, man.
you.
Take
And
care.
thank you, everybody, for tuning in. You'll find all the information about Sai in the show notes and in the description. And thank you for listening in. I hope I'll see you again for the next Soul Talk. And as always, I wish you a good time, a good day, and keep surfing your energy wave. Bye, everybody.
You're right. Bye.